How's my chummies? How's my breechies? Sometimes you can see these types of questions that feel like a little bit gnarly. They've got a lot going in, and it just feels like you've started your exam and it went pretty chilled, and now just set after set, wave after wave, it keeps coming at you, and it just gets harder and harder. And so you notice that there's a little bit of a pattern going on here. You can see the ones, the twos, the threes, the fours, and so on and so on. But you're just wondering, like, what do you, dude? What do you do with these kind of questions? Like, where do you even begin? And you might remember these types of questions from early grade 11 days, but when the denominator is just looking a little bit gnarly, and you want to simplify that just to make it a lot more chilled for you so that it becomes a KIF question. Then what you can do is you just do a bit of a rationalizing the denominator. And what I mean by that is you just write out what is on the denominator exactly as it is, except, buddy, you just change the sign. And that's basically it. So we're gonna barrel ourselves out of this one just by doing that. And so let me just focus on two of them. So let's say that's one. The only trick that we've had to do here, what told me, is we've just had to do this trick of the rationalizing denominator. And I know it looks like a lot. It looks pretty epic. But once you've got this trick, you are good to go. You are going to be riding this so hard. Watch what happens here. This is actually too cool. So if I times the numerator together, the top, I just get that kind of a setup. And if I times the bottom, I get root 1 times root 1 is just 1. The root 1 times the minus root 2 will be a minus version of root 2. But then when I times the root 2 times 1, I get the positive of that. And so that will just cancel. So I'm just left the root 1, which is just 1. And when I finally times root 2 times root 2, that just gives me negative 2. And so you might be saying, my buddy, why did you even choose to times it by the same thing on the bottom here, but with a different sign? Well, thanks, my chum. Thanks for asking that question, because it's a pretty clever idea. And the idea there is that you are just turning it into some version of a difference of squares. And as you can see, that's how the first one simplified. And you'll notice the pattern once I do the next one. So just hang tight there. Just wait for the swell to pick up, and you'll get the next one. So if I times the numerator again, then I've got this kind of setup. And if I times the denominator, a root 2 times a root 2 is just 2. We've learned in the other one that the middle two terms are just going to cancel out. So all we're left with is root 3 times root 3, which is just minus root 3. So just from those two terms, if I want to simplify, and I know that root 1 is just 1, so I guess I could change that just to simplify things. But if I just look at what I've got that over 1. I've got root 2 minus root 3 also over negative 1, which basically just changes it. It just changes it into this kind of a setup. And if you're looking really carefully over the horizon, you'll see that we've got this really KIF setup happening. You got minus 1, and then you've got a root 2 and a minus root 2, so those are going to go. You've got a root 3, and as you can see the pattern, it's going to be minus root 3. And the next one will be positive root 4, and the next one will be negative root 4. And this KIF pattern just goes all the way until the end, where I would end up with a positive root 100. And so, as you've probably been checking out there, you see that all these terms are just going to cancel. And so I'm just left with the minus 1, and root 100, as you know, because you are a legend, is just 10. And so you've got 10 minus 1, which is such a chilled number. And so you've taken this really tough question and you've completely shredded it into this simple answer of 9. I hope that you found that So chilled, my chummy. For all the rippers out there, if you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Subscribe to this epic channel. And have a lekker day further there, my Brucci.